What made the high school legend become a legend? At our high school, there was this kid named Marcus who everyone called the Ghost. Not because he was scary, but because he was basically invisible. Sat alone at lunch every single day, never talked in class, wore the same black hoodie every single day for 3 years straight. Most people didn't even know his last name. He'd been at our school since sophomore year, and I bet half the seniors couldn't pick him out of a lineup if their lives depended on it. Teachers would forget to call on him during attendance, and he never raised his hand to remind them. Marcus had zero friends, never went to parties, never played sports, never joined clubs. Kids would make jokes about him being a future serial killer or building bombs in his basement. The classic weird loner stereotype that everyone loves to pick on. But Marcus had this one strange habit that nobody really paid attention to. Every day after the final bell rang, while everyone else was rushing to their cars or the bus, he'd disappear into the auto shop classroom. Mr. Peterson, the shop teacher, would let him stay after hours to work on some mysterious project. Nobody knew what he was building in there. The auto shop was in the basement of the old building, and you could hear power tools running until like 7 or 8 at night. Kids would joke that Marcus was probably making weapons or building a robot to take over the school. Senior year, our principal announced this massive engineering competition. Teams had to build a working vehicle that could carry a person and run completely on alternative energy. No gas, no electricity from the grid. Winner got a full scholarship to the state engineering program, worth about $60,000. All the popular kids formed teams immediately. The football players teamed up with the rich kids whose parents could buy them fancy materials. The honor students formed their own group and started researching solar panel configurations. The debate team kids decided to build a wind-powered cart. Everyone assumed one of these well-funded, smart teams would win easily. They had money, they had multiple brains working together, and they had connections to get professional help from their parents who were engineers and doctors. Nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, expected Marcus to enter. He didn't have teammates, didn't have money for expensive parts, didn't even have friends to help him carry stuff. But 3 days before the deadline, he quietly submitted his entry form. Just his name written in messy handwriting, no team members listed. The day of the competition arrived, and the school parking lot turned into a circus. Every team showed up with these elaborate contraptions that looked like they cost thousands of dollars. Solar panels everywhere, massive wind turbines, complicated computer systems with screens and wires hanging all over the place. The football team had built this huge cart powered by solar panels that barely moved 5 miles per hour. The honor students created something that looked like a space shuttle but kept breaking down every 50 feet. The debate team's wind-powered vehicle only worked when there was a strong breeze, which there wasn't. Then Marcus showed up, and everyone stopped talking. He was pushing something covered by an old blue tarp, walking calmly through the crowd like he owned the place. When he pulled off the tarp, people actually gasped out loud. It was a bicycle, but not like any bike anyone had ever seen before. The frame was completely custom, welded together from scratch with perfect precision. Instead of regular thin wheels, it had these massive, thick tires that looked like they belonged on a construction vehicle. But the really crazy part was the power system. Marcus had somehow built a compressed air engine using old fire extinguisher tanks he'd bought from the junkyard. The whole setup was mounted behind the seat, connected to the rear wheel through a system of gears and chains that looked like mechanical art. While other teams struggled for 20 minutes just to get their vehicles moving, or kept breaking down and needing repairs, Marcus simply climbed on his bike, pressed a button, and took off like a rocket. Smooth, quiet, fast. It hit 30 miles per hour easily and could run for 20 miles on a single tank of compressed air that you could refill at any gas station for $2. The judges were completely blown away, not just by how well the bike worked, but by the fact that Marcus had designed and built the entire thing himself. Every weld, every gear, every bolt had been crafted by his hands alone in that basement shop classroom. During the presentation portion, Marcus spoke more words than anyone had heard from him in 4 years. He explained how compressed air was actually more efficient than electric batteries, how he taught himself advanced welding techniques from YouTube videos, and how he'd been working on this project for 2 solid years. Turns out Marcus wasn't antisocial or weird at all. He was just completely obsessed with engineering and had been using every free moment to learn skills that kids our age weren't supposed to know. While everyone else was at parties or playing video games, he was mastering metalworking, pneumatics, and mechanical design. He won the scholarship by such a huge margin that the judges said it wasn't even close. But more than that, he became an instant legend. The quiet kid who secretly built a miracle machine and shocked everyone who had written him off. At graduation 2 months later, when they called Marcus's name, the entire auditorium erupted in the loudest cheers I'd ever heard. Even the football team was going crazy, screaming and whistling. Marcus just smiled and waved like he'd been expecting the attention all along. The bike is still on display in our school's main hallway trophy case with a plaque that reads, "Never underestimate the power of dedication and solitude." And Marcus, he's working for NASA now, designing vehicles for Mars missions.